Hi Nancy, it's Teresa. This is a video of my making my polymer clay babies in response to your request. I'd like to show you first a couple of the ones that I have created. This is the little one I have here. This is my little nest baby, if you can see it. This little baby I put in a nest. He or she. You can see the little face and the little hands, and this one has real human hair. But see, it's one of the first ones I created, so the bottom isn't so nice. But the top is beautiful, and that's really what you're going to be looking at. The little bottom, I mean, you can see everything. All the little wrinkles, the little facial features, and I'll get to that, how I created that. And of course, I told you how I started doing this. Was in the hospital out of physical therapy with some clay that they gave me, but it wasn't polymer clay. This is Sculpt polymer clay, and this is how my baby starts, with a square of polymer clay. It's quite hard at first, but when you roll it between your hands, it gets real soft and pliable. But you don't want it too soft as you're doing the baby's head, because if it's too soft, it's very hard to get the details, I've found, because it's just trial and error. I'm self-taught. I don't use the typical sculpting tools that most people use for their sculptures. I don't. I use anything and everything that I can find around the house that I think I could create something with. These are from my husband's collar on his shirt, and I use the little ends to create wrinkles, the tips for fingertips, goes really well, toenails, and just for pushing the polymer clay when I need to, and for creating the mouth, slits and eyes. It's fantastic, it's pliable, bendable, and it's just something I found around the house that works. I also use a cuticle pusher. You know, that you'd normally push your cuticles with. Works great for pushing and creating. This is one of the little faces that I'm working on right now. That's my daughter as a baby, and you can see she's crying. Put a little bow on it. So and I always stuck a bow on her head because she was shiny bald and she didn't have any hair. And so I'm still working on that. I have another one. This was one of the very first ones that I ever created, and this is my daughter at birth. You know how, kind of so you get the full umph of what it looks like. You know how when the baby first comes out, they lay the baby down and it kind of slops to the side as they lay it down, the little legs and everything. I somehow, some way, was able to capture that second of birth. If you just look, it just, like I said, it just came naturally to me. One day I just started with that clay, and one thing led to the other, and this is little newborn. This would be either Brogan or Shane, either or, and you can see the little bottom, the little hands, the little feet, everything. Now, I'm about to show you the very first one that I ever made, so I'm going to let you come with me for that one. And the reason why I'm showing you this particular one is because it took me literally 3 weeks to get it right the way I wanted it, and I've come a long way since this. But this was my very, very first ever baby, and I kept it because this was my first. If you can, right there. If you can see the little head, now I'm going to show you the face. Little crying baby boy. This is Brogan crying. See the little hands and feet, and it just took me forever to sculpt this. But you can see her face in the background. I worked so hard on this little character. I really, really did. And as I said, it just takes forever. you know, polymer clay is really forgiving, because if you make a mistake, you squish it and start over. It's no big deal. That's my first. Now I've made another little one here. Let me see. This little one. Kind of an interesting little baby. It's kind of wrapped around. I actually planned on putting this inside of an Easter egg. Never really got around to finding the right size Easter egg, but maybe next year I will. But I paint them also with a special type of paint. But this was before I had the special paint, and I only just used what I had around the house to finish it off and to give it kind of that sheen, that newborn sheen of the skin. But I've gotten better with time. You do get better with time the more you work on it. See, the little faces are all different. It just depends. As I start working on it, it takes on a different look. I usually start with a dirty piece of clay to get any kind of thing off my hands. And a lot of people like to make what they call it's a form out of this wire. But you know what? I've never used it because I start forming and then I really don't want to bother. Sometimes I make the limbs first before I make the body. And so you'll see here I have a leg that I've been working on. I just roll a piece of this polymer clay out and I just start working. You know what? I'm going to shut these curtains because they're casting a light and it's keeping you from seeing the detail. I think that's actually better. Let me see. I think that might be actually better. Anyway, there you can see the little feet. A little foot. But I just work and work and work with it. Little hand that I'm working on, and you know, this will be the first stuffed body polymer clay doll I'm trying to make. This one will be an actual doll. The other ones are sculptures. This one I think I'm going to make into a doll, but I haven't decided yet because I'm still working on it. And I have several different little faces. This is another little face. See, they just take on their own life. Here's another one that I'm working on. I have several different ones that I work on, and they're all different as I go along. However, I start out with just a piece of clay, and I put 3 pieces of clay here. I put the chin, cheeks, nose, and chin, and then I'm gonna let you watch me as I do it. I start blending it with my fingers. Wait, let me see. You can't really. I've got the wrong angle here. Let's see, there we go. I start blending it with my fingers, just blending and blending, blending. And I create a forehead, a nose, and a chin. And then I decide where the eyes are going to be. And if it's going to be a newborn, usually it's got more of a pointed forehead. But if it's just going to be, you know, like a regular little baby, it'll probably look like more like this. And this is how I go along. Now, to make the eyes, I take that little plastic thing, wherever it went. Oh, it's here somewhere. Anyway, oh, there it is. Good. Take this little plastic thing. You can see here. I'm going to try to do this as best I can so you can kind of see. It's really hard because this is a Mac and it's not like a camera where you can kind of point it, but I kind of make the eye sockets. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm upside down, so. And then I work around the nose because I'm going to want to sculpt the little nose out. See how that looks. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Just work with it and work with it until it starts looking more like a little eye socket. And then I kind of push the clay with my fingers all around. You can see the little mouth forming and the little, can you see that? Kind of right there. And it's starting to turn into a little baby. And as I go along, I'll decide how, you know, I want to make the body. But Nancy, truly, I have to be honest. It just comes naturally to me. I just, like I said, I remember every detail of my babies. I have never forgotten, and it shows up in my work. And it's just my therapy for my hands because, you know, I told you my hands, they just bother me so much. They feel like they're in sand all the time, no matter what I touch, unless it's something like clay. which for whatever reason sends a different message to my brain. And it's just so nice to work with because it doesn't bother my hands like fabric. And I would love more than anything to be able to sew, but I just can't. Anyway, oh, I went over 10 minutes. Shoot. Oh well.